Hello, 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 and welcome back to Talking to Tequila with Chloe. That's me, Chloe. Episode number 20. Can you fucking believe it? We are on episode number 20, and it's so simpatico, erratico that episode number 20 happens to be a compilation of my favorite things in the entire gosh darn world. Not my favorite things in the entire world, but some of my top tier things that I give just so deeply a rip about. Now, first and foremost, we're going to be talking about my trip down to DC. We're going to be talking about Cinco de Mayo. We're going to be talking about Sinners. I finally saw it. Met Gala Monday. Yes, honey, a little recap. Not a little recap. This whole damn episode is going to be pretty Met Gala heavy. However, if you're not into the Met Gala, do me a favor. It's episode number 20. Sit tight. Listen up. Have a little fun. Go outside the box. It's our special episode. And you can Google the outfits I'm talking about, right? Just for a little bit. Let's just have, get up here. Let's dance. Let's dance. You know what I mean? Fuck it. We're throwing caution to the wind today. And then, of course, tequila time. We've got some really heavy-hitting news stories today, which I cannot wait to get into. And then I know we talked about my tacky era last week. I have a little cap. I want to close it out with something really fabulous, okay? And then, of course, the Sva Sva. Oh, and we're having a Trust Clo Go this week with 2 recommendations. You heard me. All right. First and foremost, let's just do a little recap of my week before we dive into the Met Gala. I went down to Washington, D.C. this week, okay? I went down on Thursday because there was going to be the 50-51 protest, the May Day protest. Now, I was really wanting to be in, first of all, I wanted to go down to D.C. I knew that there were going to be some protests happening that day. I thought I could, pop up onto one. Now, I know that they said to meet at noon, but I was kind of having a lackadaisical day. And I was like, well, it's a protest for God's sakes. They're going to be there all day, right? So I ended up getting there right around 1:30, and I walked to this park, and what I heard playing in the background was this rock band. And I'm not really into rock, you know what I mean? But still, I got the vibe and the sentiment of what we were doing that day. And it was just this rock band with this electric guitar. And they were saying, I don't know I can't remember the melody, but they were like, fuck Donald Trump, fuck Donald Trump, fuck Donald Trump, fuck Donald Trump. And you would have thought I was myself a rock girly. Because all of a sudden I'm in this park and I'm like this, fuck Donald Trump. You know what I mean? And I was headbanging. Not really. Let's just be real. I wasn't headbanging, but I was singing along, So I was kind of taking it all in. Now, it was really quite kind of tame. And I kind of was like, are we at a picnic or a protest kind of? People had their signs and their shirts, and I appreciated it all, right? Of course, but in my mind, I kind of was like, wowzers, I do not know what this might take a few decades if we're going at this rate. But I went online and I started looking things up. And what happened was I think I missed the march. Because I did see online a huge marching of people down in DC. I don't know where they were at. I don't know if they started at the 50-51 park. I don't know if it was a separate group that had organized it, but I was thrilled to see that there was actually thousands and thousands of people who actually were marching around. Do you know what I mean? And then apparently there were over 800 protests that day. Which was really fabulous. Now, I did hear that there had been lawyers that took to the steps of the Supreme Court demanding they uphold the law. So I'm like, okay, let me Google where the Supreme Court is. It was a 27-minute walk, and I'm trying to get some sun. So I was like, let me go walk up to the Supreme Court. And I was winded, I'm not going to lie to you. I was actually not okay. But I walked all the way up to the Supreme Court and there was no one there. Like, I think I missed everything because then it was like 4 o'clock. And I'm like, are these protesters out up early in the morning? I'm not a morning person, but like I did my duty. I went to the one in the park and I was singing along and there were kids there, which I love. Like these parents teaching their kids at a young age to learn that like what's going on right now is not normal. But I was just like, I think I missed everything. So if I ever do partake in that again, I'm going really early. Now, I do think I'm going back to DC on Thursday again because let me tell you something about DC. I went to DC one time and that was on my 8th grade field trip, right? Like we went to DC, Busch Gardens, the Rainforest Cafe, some core memories, really core memories, okay? But that's the only time I had ever been there. So I had never been to DC in my adult life. There's seemingly a lot to see there. There's a bunch of buildings. They all look old and marbly. It was a little bit hard for me to be there because I kept seeing people in suits and I kept wanting to be like, are you fighting for our rights? Are you fighting? But I don't actually know who these people are. Like they could be hall monitors for all I know. And it was taking a lot of me to be, because then I walked past like the Senate building, it said, and there were all these people out on the balcony and I wanted to be like, are you guys fighting for us? But then I was like, okay, shut your mouth. You're going to get arrested. And I don't want to be arrested. I really don't. I don't have the funds to be arrested. Okay. I can't make bail. I just can't make bail. I'm just going to be honest with you. I think I would have to put up my house as leverage and I can't do that. So I just quietly walked past. But in my mind, I was telepathically sending to them, fight for us, fight for us, fight for us. I don't know if it worked. Only time will tell. Okay. Now, I was Googling and, can I just say something about Google real quick? And AI and ChatGPT. Let me tell you something. I am a ChatGPT hater to my core. Do you understand me? We all grew up watching movies where AI takes over and kills all of us. Am I living in a la la land? Am I living in a twilight zone that AI started to become a thing and we're like, but they make funny memes. No, but I need to know how to convert teaspoons to tablespoons. It's 3 teaspoons is a tablespoon. First of all, just ask me. I'll tell you. Secondly, Google it. And I know that Google has their own little dumb AI thing that pops up too, but just Google it. Like, I don't understand why we're putting our lives at risk. I literally saw a girl chat GPTing like the best mascaras. Just go to Sephora and ask them. We're risking our lives. We're literally risking artificial intelligence taking over, literally blacking out the grid, literally machines, like they could rip us limb from limb. And you want to use it because you need to know the best mascara? How do you think we figured it out 3 years ago? Ask your girlfriend who has good eyelashes. Okay, so anyways, I was Googling and TikToking best restaurants in DC because one of my very, very little joys in life. Okay, I have a lot of joys in life. I don't know why I said it like that. A major joy in my life is eating. Okay, this body didn't build itself, honey. This full face is it natural? This full face is half natural, half, my full cheeks aren't going to stay full themselves. Eating, that's what I love to do. It's one of my favorite things in the world to do. And I really love a really good meal. And I like an environment. And I really like a curated menu. When you ask me what's my favorite kind of restaurants, it's a curated menu. It's when the chef's like this. I don't want a menu that says this. Spaghetti in a marinara. I want a menu that says this. handcrafted noodles with a Roma tomato crushed, saffron, thyme, with a garlic butter infused semble. And you know what I mean? I'm not a chef, so I don't know specifically all the terminology that they use. But when I read a menu and I read a menu item, I want half the words for me to have to Google. I want half the words for me to be a mystery. I don't want to understand your menu. I don't want a Tex-Mex egg roll with an avocado salsa. I understood every single word I just said. So I'm Googling these menus, okay? And I see this, and sometimes I feel a pulling to somewhere. Like I know that place is calling me and I'm calling it. That's kind of why I don't ever watch like Satan demon movies, because I'm like, okay, let me get this straight. This movie's based on a real true story of a demon. Okay, let's call the demon Betty, because I'm not trying to summon any real ones. This movie's based on a real demon named Betty that they had to do an exorcist with. And you want me to unlock my mind, spirit, and soul to Betty? Because Betty's going to know I know about Betty now. And Betty's going to see that my soul and mind had gotten unlocked a little bit. And I'm going to now be susceptible. Like, that is real, okay? That's true. Like, your mind is very okay. Your mind is very susceptible to things. But sometimes it can be susceptible in a good way. So, can I say something else real quick? If you're watching on YouTube, I dressed up for this episode because it's episode number 20. We made it 20 weeks, baby. 20 weeks. 20 weeks. Okay. So I dressed up really nice. I have my nice sweater on. I have what seems to be a fan favorite of my hair when I do a sexy slick back bun. I did a dewy golden bronzed makeup and I put on lip liner. But I will have to say, in this sweater, my boobs kind of look gigantic. And I'm counting down the days that I can get a reduction in lift. And so while I do think I look fabulous, it's kind of a little off-putting that my sweater is just like really highlighting a part of me that I'm not interested in highlighting. But nevertheless, I persisted. So I was Googling these restaurants, and all of a sudden this restaurant was calling to me. It was saying, come to me, because the vibe was hitting, and I was in the mood for a rigatone. I was in the mood for a pasta, and there was this pasta that kept popping up, this rigatoni, okay? And so I'm like, that's it. I'm going to the Red Hen in Washington, D.C. They were opening in 30 minutes. It was a 27-minute drive away. Even though it was like 5 miles away, the D.C. traffic, I'm sorry. Like, we all just need to relax. They wanted everyone to go back to work. And why? They wanted everyone to go back to work, so you have to spend more money on gas so that oil companies can make a lot of money. I'm no fool. It's not for mental health. It's not because we need to get out of the house. Honey, we were all out of the house anyways, having brunch with our girlfriends. And now you made everyone go back into the office so you can line the pockets of these gas and oil companies. And it's fucking a bullshit. And it's and guess what else? It's bullshit, okay? So it took me 30 minutes to get 5 miles away. Fine, fair, that's okay. I'll do it. Because I'll honestly, can I be real? I'll drive any distance for food. There's a restaurant in Chicago I like called Rosemary. And sometimes I go to Chicago for my birthday. And I bill it as, oh, let's take a trip to Chicago for my birthday. And that's a lie. I'm taking a trip to Chicago to go to Rosemary's. Technically, it's for my birthday. I act like I want to see the city. I want to eat at Rosemary's. That's what's happening. So I'll drive any distance to go to a restaurant that I like. Trust and believe that. Okay. So I get to the Red Hen. The parking was, I don't really understand the parking situation in DC, but after about 30 minutes, I did find a parking spot. I backed my little ass up into that parking spot, and then I walked to the Red Hen. The vibe immediately was immaculate. It was beautiful. It was classy. It was sophisticated, but it was still casual. and I sat at the bar, which I only ever sit at the bar if I'm alone because I'm actually not a sit at the bar girl. I really do like a table because I like to feel like I have my own little space. And at the bar, I kind of am like feeling like I don't want to be in anyone else's space. I don't want to be bothersome. And I have broad shoulders. So for me, when I'm at the bar, I'm thinking I'm really getting my shoulder into someone else's ass, okay? But nevertheless, I sat at the bar. And immediately I could tell that this was the kind of restaurant that I was interested in because the bartenders were extremely attentive. They came over straight away and they're like, "Oh, hello, ma'am. Here's the menu. Here's this." I love that. Okay. And okay. Let's get down to the drink real quick. I said to the bartender, because sometimes I want to futz around and act like I know what I'm doing. And sometimes I just want to cut to the chase. Okay. And I said, out of these cocktails, which is the sweetest, sir? Like, just level with me. And he said some name and I said, "Oh, okay. Get me that." So he got it for me and the glass was stunning, which I really like. I need to get a cocktail glass that has a really small body. I don't have any of those. And I took a sip and all of a sudden I was transported to eating a dill salmon. Which I love dill salmon. It's one of my favorite entrees. I bake a salmon in the oven and I do a little dill yogurt topping, glop that right on top of my salmon and do a spritz of lemon. But to drink it, I was in shock. So I read the menu and while it was sweet, it was a dill cocktail. So the cocktail ingredient was heavily influenced by dill, which was shocking. Now let me be crystal clear. The drink was delicious. I'm not used to drinking dill. That's all. I'm not saying not to try it. I'm just saying be prepared. Okay. And then all of a sudden, I see this really tall guy because the kitchen's open, which I also love. I see this really tall guy because there's also an open kitchen in Boston at Fox and the Knife, which is also fabulous. Okay. And he all of a sudden is walking toward me. And he has a baseball cap on, which I really appreciated. Not a baseball cap that is the kind that you get at the stadium. It's the kind that's kind of fitted with like a number sticker on it. And he stops at me. He stops right up next to me. And this guy's like, he had to have been 6'5". Big guy. He looked like he could have been a football player. And he had a tiny little espresso cup in his hand. And it was so small and his hand was so big, he looked like a giant. And he said to me, "I like your shirt." And that's when I knew I picked the right restaurant. Because this big, he might have been a cook, he might have been an expo, he might have been the owner, he might have been the head chef. He was a big, tall guy at the Red Hen. Big guy. Okay? But like a football player big. He said, "I like your shirt." Immediately, I knew I had been to the right place because I was in my feelings really deeply last week about the administration. And I said, I need to go to DC to feel injected with diversity and hope. Okay? I needed to see a sign that said, "Fuck Trump." And I did. And then I went out to this restaurant. I was in the mood for rigatone. I got to this restaurant and I had on my Marie's Tees design shirt that said, "Jesus was an immigrant." Because he was. Actually, I don't know much about the Bible, but I'm taking that at face value. And the sentiment of that is all you Christians are like so Christian, but you also like, not all you Christians. Some of you Christians, okay, let me rephrase this. Most MAGA cosplay as Christians, but they're really not. And they all like say they love Jesus, but like they also hate immigrants, but like Jesus was an immigrant. So 2 + 2 is equaling, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. Right? But this guy complimented my shirt, right? And then I saw him walk back to the kitchen. He hit another guy. He pointed to my shirt. That guy smiled. I knew I was not in enemy territory. I was in friendly territory. That meant the world to me. That day in particular, I needed to feel like someone gave a damn and gave a rip. In a 6'5" white guy coming up to me and then hitting other white guys in the chest to point out my shirt made me feel like, oh, goddamn, there may be hope. Because, sometimes you feel like, who the hell's even listening and cares? And these guys let me know, oh, God, okay. So we are fighting, okay? Because then he told me, the cook or the owner or the chef or the expo or the head chef, he said, I have a good shirt like that too that I wear. I wash it every day. He's like, I'm wearing it. I'm like, yes. So trust Clogo. The Red Hen in DC, that is friendly territory, my friends. I would highly recommend going there. Give yourself 20 minutes minimum to find parking. Warning. Alert. Okay, great. Now next. It was Cinco de Mayo this week, which isn't a holiday that I particularly care about, but my boyfriend wanted to celebrate it this year, which, if he wants to celebrate it, let's go. Because, he is of Latino Hispanic descent, right? I'm being vague. So we went out to Las Vegas, which is in downtown Pittsburgh, Market Square to be exact. And because he loves the enchiladas there. And I haven't been there in years. I haven't been there in probably 10 years. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because, one, I got a Cornita margarita, which is where they put an upside down Corona into a margarita. It is extremely hard to find a good Corona margarita because sometimes the ratios are not correct. And that ratio was perfect. I'm telling you that right now. And then the tortilla soup. I'm doing another Trust Clo go. The tortilla soup is the best soup I've ever had in my life. Now, listen to me when I say that. I've had a clam chowder from Boston. Okay? I've had a homemade chicken noodle in the crock pot. This chicken tortilla soup from Las Vegas, Velas, in Market Square in Pittsburgh, will make you, let me tell you something. It'll make you smile, and it'll make you feel really warm, and it'll make you eat the whole thing. So those are my two Trust Clo goes for the week. The Red Hen in DC, and the chicken tortilla soup, and the Corona margarita at Las Vegas in Pittsburgh, Market Square. Now, I went to see Sinners this week, and I went with my girlfriends and my boyfriend and my sister. And it's kind of a new tradition that we're forming. We've been going to movies a lot lately. I don't know if you remember, I saw Wolfman. I've seen a bunch of other movies in theaters, and it really is fabulous. It's a way to hang out, but to be sitting. And that's really all you can ask for, right? You want to hang out, but you want to sit. And then afterwards, we go to Typhoon when we're done. Now, spoiler alert, my boyfriend is sick of going to Typhoon. But I am the most and least confrontational person you'll ever meet. Like, if it's like a stranger or something I'm like really feel like it's actually chapping my ass, I will be very confrontational and be like, what the fuck is up with that? Like, what, like, I will be very direct. Like, I will be very like, okay, so let's just talk about this. Right. But if it is like my sister or someone I love and or something, or like between my sister and my boyfriend, like, I'm like this, just act like I'm not here. Because I know my boyfriend didn't want to go to Typhoon, but Emily and Catherine wanted to go to Typhoon. And I'm not in the business of breaking hearts. And so I didn't know what to do. I just faded into the wall. I didn't know what to do. And so I do feel bad about that, because I feel like I should be the mediator in that. But I just don't know what to do. And he ended up enjoying himself, but I'm just going to be real, he's sick of Typhoon. And we need to find another restaurant to go to, but it's also our tradition at this point. So what are we to do? We go to the movies and we go to Typhoon. And we actually have a group chat in our phone. And I can't remember what it was named. It was called like, it's named like the movie girls or the movie group, something like that. I can't be the one to break up the tradition. I don't want to be put in that situation. So we saw Sinners. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you a few things about Sinners. It is, how do I say this? It is a vampire movie, okay? It is heavily influenced. It's not heavily influenced. It's set in Jim Crow era South, 1932 to be exact. And it is heavily influenced by blues music. I knew all this coming in. So to me, I'm thinking Jim Crow South, gag, losers. Hi, if you're still the person with a Confederate flag, what's it feel like to be a fucking loser? Hold on, let me ask one more time, a little bit more clearly and directly. If you're still one of the people that's like talking about the South and like your representation in the Confederate flag, the Confederate South lasted a shorter period of time than the Beatles, as in the group. And you're still stuck on that. It's so embarrassing. It is such Loserville, USA. Hi, is there any train tickets to Loserville, USA? Oh, okay, great. Okay, great. So it's set in Jim Crow era South, Loserville, USA. Blues and vampires. That's what I knew about the movie. The first 45 minutes is like world building. It is getting to know the characters. It's getting to know this backstory. And it is this feeling of an upward momentum of hope, the creation of something. It has this real feeling of we're all coming together and we're doing this thing. I'm not going to spoil the movie, right? And it takes about halfway through to get to the vampire part. Now, as someone who was seeing it for an absolute love of that vampire genre, there did come a point in time where I was like, where are the fangs? Someone show me fangs before I flip a table. Okay? That is what I was thinking. But I knew that while I was waiting for the vampire portion of it, I was still enjoying and soaking up all the other aspects of the movie. Because it was really interesting how they incorporated like music, history, and this different genre of vampires. It's never been done, to be honest with you. And then the vampire stuff took place. Now, I will say, the movie is super sexual, which I was not expecting. And I am a prude. I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, I don't even look, whenever I'm seeing like people like this kiss in a movie, I'm like, ah! And I'm like, I'm like, I can't handle it. And it's like that. It was like some parts were like, I was reading like an erotic fantasy novel. Like there's a part where Michael B. Jordan is like explaining how to do something. And I was like, I'm gonna fucking die. Like I just was not expecting it. So I will have to say, like, be prepared. But this is what I'm gonna have to say, because I'm not going to spoil the movie at all. I'm happy I saw it in theaters. I would recommend seeing it in theaters. They have an extremely interesting fusion of that genre, which is like the vampire genre, mixed with like a extremely heavy blues music element with an incorporation of the past, present, and future. It's very interesting. I will have to say it's the most interesting vampire movie I've ever seen. It is the least vampire movie I've ever seen as well, though. That's kind of the sentiment. But overall, I really liked it. Okay. Now, let's get into the Met Gala talk, okay? We're getting into tequila time. Ra-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Ra-ta-ta-ta-ta. Ra-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Ra-ta-ta-ta-ta. Okay. This year's Met Gala was super fine. Black dandyism. I think that's the way you pronounce it. Dandyism. Black dandy. Fine tailoring that speaks to you. The history of Black fashion and expressing yourself. And I could not wait, okay? The co-chairs were Pharrell, A$AP Rocky, Coleman Domingo, and Lewis Hamilton. When the Met Gala first started this year, and we're going to go through my top looks, not, I don't want to say bottom looks. I literally wrote, what the fuck? Okay. And we're going to go top looks, top male, top female, my what the fucks, and then my best dressed award. Now, I do have to say, when the carpet first started this year, I was really worried because, and I forget this every year. Many of the heavy hitters do not come until midway through the carpet. Now, Teyana Taylor was one of the first people there, and her outfit was really large. But everyone else, I was like, this cannot be the carpet. I mean, it was all ill-fitted, pinstriped, play-on-male suits in a really not good way. And I was like, oh, I cannot believe out of all the themes that were so easy to nail, I cannot believe people are fucking up this theme. But lo and behold, the big hitters started rolling in. Now, the first thing I want to say is the carpet itself was beautiful. It was this beautiful hue of blue with these really petite, beautiful, stunning flowers all over it. And I remember just thinking, what a stunning, stunning carpet for this theme, okay? Now, let's get into first the chairs. And by the way, LeBron James was an honorary co-chair, and I didn't see him there. I didn't see him at all. Was he there? He had to have been. Honorary co-chair? I'll have to look that up later. Now, first, let's get into Coleman Domingo. When he first stepped onto the red carpet, he had on this extremely large cape that covered his entire body to the ground. And while it was extremely dramatic, I was in shock a little bit at first because and by the way, pull up your phone if you can, like pause while you're doing this, like look up these looks, like we're talking about it together, honey. And I was a little, honestly, to be real, I was let down because I love Coleman Domingo. He is always so well dressed on the red carpets, and I was like, this is literally like an offshoot of this theme is literally like expert tailoring. That's an offshoot of this theme, and I was like, a cape that covers your whole body. I don't even see any tailoring. But then I should have known. I'm such a dumb bitch sometimes. I should have known there was a reveal coming. And he gave us a reveal, okay? To, of course, one of the most fine, crispy tailorings, beautiful suit, a flower made out of fabric, this big flamboyant flower made out of fabric. And my God, thank God, I was so relieved. So while I really loved the reveal and I loved the suit, it was not my top contender, which is surprising, okay? I feel like I've seen Coleman Domingo wear even better stuff on the red carpets. Now, I love the suit, but I have other outfits of his that I prefer in normal red carpet life. Then, Pharrell. This was one of the most shocking looks of the night. It was an extremely beautiful, I believe Pharrell was with Louis Vuitton. And it was this extremely beautiful, silvery white jacket. It almost looked like metal or chain link. And the top was beautiful. The bottom was so fucking shocking. It was like this ill-fitting bell-bottom pant. And I do recognize as I'm saying this, like I am a girl whose wardrobe is predominantly American Eagle. So please understand, like I know I'm not a fashion connoisseur, but I do have eyeballs and I can understand proportion. And the pants were fucking insane. I mean, it was truly like a very disproportionate, weird bell-bottom pant. So Pharrell, all I can say is love, chest up, you slayed. Outside of that, I don't know what the fuck was going on. Okay. Next. A$AP Rocky. He really crushed it. He wore a black suit. His hair was stunning. It was a braided hair that was really, it almost looked like, it was just good. How do I say it? it was like twirling all over his head, and I loved it. And then I think it was supposed to be like almost like a pistol or something coming out of his pant. I didn't know if it was a pistol or a sword, but it brought the look together beautifully. And I really liked his look. But I want to talk about Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton, which I had to Google, apparently he's a race car driver. Great, good for you. I love it. There is a movie coming out called F1, I think, with Brad Pitt, and he's a race car driver. So I'm scared to drive fast, but go off, sir. Like, really go off. Lewis Hamilton was the first look on the red carpet. No, it wasn't a red carpet. It was a blue carpet. It was the first look on the blue carpet that I saw that snatched my voice out of my throat. It was the most well-tailored, stunning, fit to the gods, classic white suit, individualized and made unique by extremely complimentary details. I don't know how else to describe it other than that. It was phenomenal. It was beautiful, classic, interesting, well-tailored, and unique. That should be what the Met Gala is. It should be something that is slightly more flamboyant than you would wear onto the normal red carpets, but not so psychotic that it becomes a joke, unless it's literally the theme camp, which was a few years ago, or last year, I can't remember. And that was what Lewis Hamilton's was. Total contender for top best dressed. Now, I will have to say the men fucking slayed it this year. Some of my other favorites were Stormzy, which is a rapper, songwriter, singer. His outfit was very, very classic. You actually could wear it onto an additional red carpet, but it was fit so well. It was so dapper and beautiful, and he looked amazing. He looked so handsome and classic and well put together. I loved Stormzy's look. Also, Shaboozey, an amazing representation. He had this chest piece on his outfit that was so unique. It almost looked like is it the xylophone that you can play when you hit your chest with spoons and it's like it almost looked like a xylophone made of beads, and it was stunning. So Shaboozey was also one of the people that I thought nailed the look, which was a beautiful classic tailored look that was way more elevated and unique than what you would wear on a normal red carpet without crossing the line of being a costume. Now, I will have to say Andre 3000 did cross the line of it being costume-like. He did wear he wore a suit, but the suit looked a little more dressed down than normal in a way that, like, it was supposed to, I think, look a little bit more like he was hopping from gig to gig. And then he wore a huge piano on his back. And it was so fun. Like, it was really fun. And that is an example of being able to cross that campy, over-the-top, costume-like line while still being fashion, honey. So Andre 3000 I absolutely adored. Now, DeAndre Hopkins is apparently a wide receiver, which is a football player. Yeah, honey. That's right. I know that a wide receiver is in football. Your loins. Okay. Actually, I had to Google it. I'm just going to be real. Let's just be real. Let me stop playing around. Okay. DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not his number one fan. Who does he play for? I'm buying merch. No, I'm not. I'm poor. I'm not poor. I'm watching my wallet. His look was extremely, extremely beautiful, interesting. Again, I wish all the guys would kind of dress like this for a red carpet, any carpet. Walking the line of classic, but interesting and taking one step up of an elevation that we need to start appreciating from some of these men, okay? Because the men this year killed the Met Gala. This year was their year. They freaking crushed it. And then lastly, I would like to bring up Adrian Brody. And actually, I have 2 more to bring up after this about the guys. His look was nothing that is going to really gag you in terms of uniqueness, but it was beautiful. It was a all black outfit, an all black suit, but the shirt underneath almost looked like a larger, kind of like messy but clean and classic, I don't know, blouse almost top. And he was with Georgina Chapman. Now, them together are one of the best dressed couples. Georgina Chapman's dress was like a fitted mermaid dress with these really beautiful big black flowers. You could wear that though to the Oscars. You could wear it to the Grammys. You could wear it anywhere. So them together, they looked fabulous. His suit was better than her dress because it was interesting. But they're not the winners of the couple look. The winners of the couple look are Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade, who looked impeccable, dressed to the nines, totally cohesive, interesting. Now, Dwayne Wade, again, I preferred over Gabrielle Union, but again, it's because his suit was a little bit more interesting than her dress. And that's all I have to say about that. And lastly, for the men, Damson Idris, who is an actor. He is the guy that came in like a race car suit with a bedazzled helmet, and then they ripped away his race car suit to have a really beautiful, well-tailored suit underneath. I believe the suit was red. And I love a red carpet reveal. I love a blue carpet reveal. And his was stunning. And I really like when the pre-reveal and the post-reveal look are equally as cool and interesting. And his was. Okay. Now let's get to the women. Joey King was the first female that I saw that gave me hope for the event. Her suit was so flamboyant, but still digestible and beautiful that it stopped me in my tracks. Okay, it was this really well-fitted suit that looked really beautiful and stunning, and it had these like big brooches all over it. Her makeup was perfect, her hair was perfect, and I thought, God damn, she fucking nailed it. There was a little bit of color in there, and I really, really loved it. Now, with that being said, if we want to talk about a suit that was fit to the gods, that's Zoe Saldana. Her dress was glued onto her. It was a mix of like a tuxedo. And normally when girls do tuxedo dresses, they're almost always a letdown. They are almost always the same exact silhouette, or like a suit that looks like it's just glued onto you with like a bustier with like shoulder pads that are not really on you. They're like floating above you. This is the first time I have ever seen a suit dress that is supposed to imitate a suit that is better than a suit that is fitted phenomenally with no notes listed. The back was very beautiful and interesting. It was like an open back with a bowie ribbon flower thing. I really loved it. And she looked insanely good. Insanely good. Next, the other person that when I saw them, I thought, oh, thank God. Thank God, thank God, thank God. It's interesting, it's cool, it's fun, it's on theme. And that is Cardi B. Cardi B wore a suit which almost looked like fur. It could have even been fur, but it was tailored beautifully. Hair and makeup were very interesting. Oh God, I loved it. So Cardi B was an example of taking the theme, making it unique, but also making it fun, which is very hard to do. Like, Joey King looked great and it was colorful and interesting. Zoe Saldana looked great, but it was very classic. Cardi B looked great, but it was fun. But it wasn't a mockery and it wasn't too camp. Like, Doja Cat this year was too much and it was kind of camp. I didn't like her look this year. And then lastly, shouting out the girls, is Jenna Ortega. Now, was her look over the top, flamboyant? No. Could she have worn it to the Oscars or another red carpet? Yes. And normally when I judge my Met Gala looks, I really hate if you're wearing a look that could be worn to a different event. Because then to me, that's not Met Gala. Met Gala is supposed to be walking art. But her hair and makeup did save it. She had an extremely dramatic makeup look, which did elevate the entire look to the level of it technically could be Met Gala. It was like this metal dress that was fit beautifully, that had these little spaces in between all the metal, different metal rectangular segments. And it was really fun and gorgeous to look at, and it was fit beautifully. Now, before I announce best dressed, I do just want to quickly run through some of my what the fuck looks and what the fuck people, okay? And again, most of this is based off of is if your look could be worn to a luncheon, if your look could be worn to the Grammys, if your look could be worn to anything kind of a normal celebrity event, I don't want it at the Met Gala, and I'm not going to be a fan of it. So first and foremost, Gigi Hadid, while she looked amazing in her gold dress, you could literally wear that to any other red carpet and be on the best dress list. It had no business being at the Met Gala. She looked gorgeous, great. They're literally fucking rich celebrities. Like, it's so easy to look gorgeous. I want interesting. And there's something about these models that go to the Met Gala who just cannot figure out that you don't just need to be classically beautiful. Be interesting. It's the Met Gala. So Gigi Hadid, I was not a fan of. Kendall Jenner was the most like boring suit imitated, like, let's make it a suit but make it a dress. It's like, and that's kind of shocking because Kendall Jenner normally nails the Met Gala. She is consistently one of my best dressed every single year. And this year was horrible. Her worst Met Gala to date. It was a gray suit with a skirt. It was horrible. Okay. Kim Kardashian, while her dress was more interesting than what you can wear on a normal red carpet, I hate her. And it was almost gleaming into that era of like camp. It was almost like it was so, to me, like an unoriginal thought. Like, it was a suit-like dress, but with like a black crocodile or black snakeskin like textile. And she had this big, ugly black hat on that made her look like Carmen Sandiego. And I'm sorry, I am just a Kim Kardashian hater till I die. I cannot believe this woman has culturally appropriated black culture for the last 15 fucking years. Let's even say 20. And then the minute we have a psychotic racist in office, she's just best friends with his daughter. Like, I cannot believe this woman has culturally appropriated African American and black culture for 20 fucking years. And then and by the way, cosplays like she gives and this is all allegedly in my opinion, cosplays like she gives a fuck about incarcerated men. And then is best friends with a psychotic, racist, fascist president's daughter. who, let's remember, and I don't care when you're like, it's not, that's not Ivanka's fault. Please. Those kids stand next to him and go to the inaugurations and fucking kiki and laugh and giggle. They're all psychotic MAGA heads. Please, like, don't even say to me, because there are times where a child is not responsible for their parents' actions. 100%, that happens all the time. If I was held responsible for all my mom's actions, I'd be in jail, right? But that's not the case here. She goes to his inaugurations. She doesn't speak out against it. I mean, he's committing, like, at this point, actual crimes against humanity. And all she does is reap the benefits of her dad, go on her expensive vacations, and go to his little luncheons. So she's just as guilty. And then Kim Kardashian is still, like, posting, like, free this guy from wrongful incarceration. You're rubbing elbows with the administration who took out a full-page paper to wrongly incarcerate 5 black men 30 years ago. Like, you, to me, are the epitome of a rotten soul who sold yourself to the devil for a check. I hate Kim Kardashian. I hate her. And remember, I'm a big fan of not believing in that trope. Hate's a strong word. First of all, no, it's not. I hate the drama of that. Hate's a strong word, please. You guys, I'm sorry. Blowing up a building in Gaza as a gender reveal so blue smoke puffs out, that's strong. Me saying I hate Kim Kardashian because she has no cojones and doesn't stand up for what's right and uses an entire group of people's culture to make money and then doesn't even stand up for them or stick up for them when it counts the most, that's not strong, please. Don't make me start throwing the C word around now, because you know I like that word too. Okay, next. Hailey Bieber. I mean, to be honest with you, I could wear what she wore to a girls' night. It was literally a black suit dress, like to the mid-thigh with normal hair. I was in shock. Did she look beautiful? Absolutely. Could I wear that to dinner downtown? I could. So that to me was an absolute miss. Heidi Klum, I'm in shock by what she wore. She wore a black dress. That's what Heidi Klum wore to the Met Gala. That's a waste of an invite. Do you know how many other people you could have invited to the Met Gala who would have not been that disrespectful to the theme? It was a disrespect to the theme, honey. Anne Hathaway. Now, Anne Hathaway wore a striped shirt with a white oversized button-up. And someone said, because I said this is also an embarrassment to the theme, and someone said, yeah, but she wore it in honor of Andre Leon Talley. So she wore it in honor of Andre Leon Talley, who was fabulous and interesting and provoking in the best way of really making your mind think of fashion in a different way. And that's what she wore to honor him. A striped skirt with a white button-up? Oh, you won't get a pass from me, honey. I'm not giving out passes for that. And then Lisa from Blackpink. I don't know if anyone has seen this controversy yet. I'm sure you have. Lisa's outfit from Blackpink was one of the best dressed and beautiful looks on the red carpet. It was one of the looks that when I saw, I thought, oh, good God, you gave me something to look at, honey. Until someone pointed out, and this has not been substantiated as of right now. So if it's substantiated in the future and you're listening to this, forgive me. She had like Rosa Parks stitched into her underwear. And I get the sentiment. They had like historical figure. They apparently it was supposed to be some kind of like ode to like paying homage to people. But when you look at it, it's just seemingly really important people on your booty and on your cuter cat. And someone should have realized, I mean, I think people sometimes when they think of fashion, they almost make fashion like an excuse to be not really think with your head. Because I think what they thought was like, oh, like this is fashion, honey. But you need to take a step back and you need to zoom out and think like, so would I on my TikTok wear undies with Martin Luther King on it? Would I do that? Or would, if I saw it on the internet, say, my God, who would think that that's appropriate? Like these people, they need to sometimes take a little bit of a step back and go, I know that we're kind of drowning and gagged in fashion right now and our minds aren't really working. Like we're thinking that our creative minds are so, we're in outer space right now. That's how creative we're being. And so you're kind of thinking that way, but you need to take a beat and you need to take a step back and say, okay, if I saw a girl wearing Rosa Parks on the internet, on her undies, would I be like, yes, honey, sick, slay? Or would I be like, wow, that's crazy? And if that's your answer, then you need to not do it. So her look was almost perfect. It got spoiled by getting lost in the sauce. And then lastly, and I'm going to bring this up briefly, and I'm not going to spend too much time or too much light on it, because I am Zendaya's number one fan. I love Zendaya. I love everything she stands for. I love her movies. I love her looks. I love her fashions. I love her principles. I love her relationship. She wore an extremely well-tailored, made for her body, fitted to perfection, makeup on point, not a drop out of place, fully solid white suit that was extremely well made. It was not gag worthy at all. If she would have worn it to the Sundance Film Festival, it would have been a 10 out of 10. For the Met Gala, you have to be interesting. It has to be so unique and interesting. And her outfit was so basic that there was actually an exact replica from, gosh, I wish I would have wrote her name. Oh, the main character from, is it Shogun? Shogun. I don't watch it, so if I'm pronouncing that wrong, please forgive me. The main actress from that movie, I wish I remembered her name. She wore that beautiful red crystal outfit to the Oscars, I believe, or to the, was it the Oscars or was it the Golden Globes? I can't remember. Okay. But she also wore a sickeningly fitted white suit, all white, with a big floppy white hat. Zendaya wore the exact same thing. Their outfit was exactly the same outside of like buttons in different places. I'm just going to leave it at that. You know what they say? Even Tom Brady can't win every Super Bowl. And I'm leaving it at that. Now, the big news of the night was Rihanna dropping some Instagram photos. And we're now moving on to the second part of Tequila time. Rihanna dropped some Instagram photos. She's preggo with baby number 3, honey. And I love it. And I knew that what I said to my boyfriend, oh, guess what? Rihanna's pregnant again. She just dropped some photos. She was in the streets of New York City with her little belly out. That's how she made her pregnancy announcement. And then she showed up to the Met Gala in an extremely well-fitted suit. It wasn't my favorite. It was a dress suit. It wasn't my favorite. It was very interesting. It just simply wasn't my taste. That's it. But it was very interesting. And with her little belly out, corseted top with a belly. So she's pregnant with baby number 3. I said to my boyfriend, she's preggo. And he said, again? And I knew he was going to say that. And I think that's going to be the sentiment online with everyone. Again? But here's the thing. It took her whole adult life to find her man. Now she found it. She wants kids. Pop them out, girl. What's stopping you? She's a billionaire. Has the means to do so. She wants these kids, might as well pop them out like a damn train. One car after another, after another, after another. Why not, right? So I love it. And I was trying to explain to my boyfriend, I'm not saying that this is what Rihanna's doing, but if you do have the means and you want a lot of kids, I know a lot of women that, because pregnancy, I think, is really, really hard on the body. I know a lot of women that don't want to go through hell for a year and then spend a year like getting your life back, like making your body feel like its own again, just to then have to do it again in a year and a half. I know a lot of women that like to just stack up the babies and kind of have your body be in this really weird influx for a solid short period of time and then, be done with the pregnancies at that point. So I don't know if that's what she's doing or not, but congratulations to Rihanna. In honor of Rihanna, I saw yesterday on my TikTok, I sang my favorite Rihanna song, which is Man Down, but my second favorite Rihanna song is Higher. So in honor of Rihanna, here's a little bit of Higher. You take me higher, higher than I've ever been, babe. Just come over, let's pour a drink, babe. I know I ain't calling you too late. To you light my fire. And that's what I have to say about that. Now, I do need to say, as my last tequila time, that this story, it gives me pause. It gives me a giggle. It gives me a hell yeah, fuck it. And that is that Bad Bunny announced his world tour. Bad Bunny, one of the most popular artists in the entire world. And I think one year he was the most streamed artist on Spotify, making him the most popular artist in the entire world, announced his world tour. He is going across the entire world, except for America, except for the United States of America. And let me tell you something. I think that that is so of him. That's the C word. I love it. I love it. Do I know that he has millions and millions and millions and millions of fans in America? I do. Do I feel really, really, really bad that they're not going to be able to see Bad Bunny and they'll have to travel if they want to? I feel horrible about it. The country has a president who is evil, who is targeting minorities, and who is literally saying he doesn't know if he needs to follow the Constitution or not. Which, by the way, makes you say, hold on. Okay, I'm so sorry, Donald Trump. You were just elected president. Are you mistaken in thinking you're God? No, like seriously. You think the president doesn't have to follow the Constitution? You're like the number one guy that has to follow the Constitution. Like your whole job is literally to make decisions for the country based on the Constitution. That's like a doctor graduating medical school and being like, well, hold on. I don't need to do it by the book now. I was elected the surgeon. And they're like, yeah, but you were made a surgeon, and then so you follow the process of the surgery. And he's like, oh, you dumb little, hold on, you dumb little witch. No, now I can just cut up and do whatever I want. And they're like, whoa, that's not what that meant. And I think you're mistaken. So I love that Bad Bunny announced a world tour and is not going to one of the largest, most consumerism countries in the entire world. Because why would he ever inject money into this economy? If you want to fuck around, you're going to find out. Like this administration wants to fuck around, they're going to find out. People are not going to come support a country literally dabbling in human rights violations. Not even dabbling. Let me take that back. Full on fucking with human rights violations. Why would they come here? I wouldn't. I wouldn't. That's ridiculous. Okay. Now, I do want to just do a little tacky update because I know last week I was really heated. I was really upset about being called tacky by a coworker. I did this whole referendum on it. I think that's the right word. And I'm having a total change of heart now because I need to start viewing things as, in the grand scheme of things, like, I'm worried. I need to not be so worried about the small stuff, right? Like, we're going through hell in a handbasket. I mean, we are on a fast track to just hell. And so I don't want to focus too much negativity on shit that really doesn't matter. Like, a girl called me tacky, that's fine. There's like people in Palestine who have like not had clean water in a year. So I'm refocusing, right? I had a bitch fit, I'm over it. But what I will do with the tacky conversation is I think I'm going to make a giggly squad moment out of it. You know, Kyle called Paige and Hannah the giggly squad over there when he was trying to yell at them. And what they did was they turned that into a podcast and have made nothing but bank off of it the last 5 years. And that's what I'm going to do with tacky. If I ever, God willing, am put in a situation where like I can make a merch, I can do a tour, I can do this. I would love to do a weekend trip. Oh God. I would love to do like a tacky weekend or like a like Slay Nation weekend. Like, I would just love, like, so what I'm trying to say is there are very few words that resonate in that you can capitalize off of, either in terms of it being like a token word in part of your universe, you know, like Slay Nation, tip it, rim it, tacky. And so now to me, what I'm viewing it as is being able to just be a token word in my world. Like, I would love to do a tacky tour. Oh, we can do tacky, honey. It's very hard for me to be cool, and it's very hard for me to look classy and beautiful. I have to try my hardest. Tacky? Oh, I can do that with my eyes closed. You know what I mean? Now, like I said, no one had ever called me tacky before. I think she was more insulting my personality. But we can turn that into a visual thing. That will save me a lot of time. I would love to have to not look slay. I would love to be able to just look like a little tacky bitch. So get ready, because tacky's part of the repertoire now. And then lastly, this week's Chic C'est La Vie, Sva Sva, is none other than, oh wait, did I announce my best dress for the Met Gala? I don't think the hell I did. I think I talked about the top men, the top women, the what the fucks, and then I moved on. Holy shit. Okay, my best dress for the Met Gala this year was Lewis Hamilton, co-chair of the Met Gala. His crisp white suit with his really subtle yet striking details took my breath away. He was the best dressed. He was the one outfit that I saw that I thought, I mean, I saw many outfits, but he's the first one that I saw that I thought, God damn, that's the theme. That is the theme, and it was executed to perfection. So Lewis Hamilton is my best dress of the Met Gala this year. Now, the reason I just thought of that was because this week's Sva Sva, I was really heavily debating between making it Lewis Hamilton or this other thing. But when I really thought about what when I really thought about what this Chic C'est La Vie Sva Sva is for me, the Chic C'est La Vie Sva Sva is the thing this week that made me go, damn, I really appreciated that, and I wanted to shout it out. And so for me, that was this week. The cook or the expo or the owner or the chef at the Red Hen. When I saw a big old burly white guy come over and say, "I love your Jesus was an immigrant" shirt, it gave me a mental tickle. It gave me a goddamn, because it's easy to be the affected group and be outraged, right? Women, minorities, you should be. It's easy to go, they're trying to take away safe abortions. I'm a woman. How dare that? Any one of us could have an ectopic pregnancy and need an abortion. Any one of us could just not want to have a kid, right? And need an abortion. Any one of us could have a miscarriage and not be able to get a safe D&C, right? Any minority could be walking down the street and get a little twinge of scared feeling because a group of people's looking at you up the head sideways and you don't know if they're going to come after you or not. But it's very easy for a white guy who seemingly, now, of course they could have a wife that could need a D&C, this and this and that. But in general, they are kind of like they're part of the group that the administration wants to uplift. I mean, that is what the administration loves. So it's very refreshing to see someone who wouldn't have to traditionally, stand up for what's right. They should, but it doesn't always happen. Make his way out of the kitchen intentionally to kind of be like, hey, yeah, we're all in this together. It made me feel peace for us 1 second, because I haven't run into a lot of strangers who openly are kind of going, hey, we're all seeing this, right? It's easy online or from a screen, behind a screen, or on social media, or your friends that you already know where they stand. But to go somewhere and to go to the protests and see strangers all saying to each other, hey, yeah, we all see what's going on. It was nice. I would say if you're having a hard time with all this stuff right now, if you could pop to something like that, it will make you feel less alone. Okay. So the chic c'est la vie, Sva Sva goes to that gentleman. Thank you so much, sir. That meant a lot to me. Okay. Now, that is wrapping up our episode number 20. I hope I have 200 more in me. To the 400 of you that tune in every goddamn week, I see you. I appreciate you. I get that number back. It's almost the same every single time. Hey, guess what? No growth is better than decline. So, until next time, like, rate, review, subscribe, share, tweet. Oh, no, don't tweet. Oh, by the way, I just want to say, Elon Musk, I haven't forgotten about you. I know that you very strategically, in an extremely obvious PR move, have almost totally removed yourself from the media. I know that you thought it was cute to be on all these podcasts and on all these stages being like, hey, me, the Doge guy. Hey, the quirky Doge guy. And then you realize when your Tesla stocks plummeted and the entire world hated you and Europe has signs of you doing the Hail Hitler on all the billboards. And they're like, hey, this guy's a fucking piece of shit. I know you thought it was going to be very easy to just fade away into the background and not make the news cycle for a while. But guess what? I'm not going to forget. And to my 400 followers and listeners, I'm going to say, don't forget about them either. You fucked yourself for life, buddy. Okay, now until next time, goodbye. Like, rate, review, and subscribe. Bye. Thank you guys for 20 episodes. I love you all. Bye.